Okay. Okay, I see you here. You
I
can
can't. It won't let me turn on my microphone.
no, your microphone is on
Oh, it is. I can't see myself.
because you have to jump off in this call so you can turn on your camera here.
I'm sorry.
You, you need to jump off this call so you can turn on your camera. You need to jump in here.
Okay.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Great. Are we live? It looks like we're live.
Yes, we're live. Is do you have your camera on?
Yes.
Okay, because okay, it's loading. I think. Okay, you're back. I can see you're inside your
Yeah.
car, huh?
Yeah, I am. Yep. I am. I was at my favorite coffee shop and a bunch of people came in. It got way too loud. So I stepped out and so I am live from my car. So I would just want to thank everyone for hopping on. I want to talk about the benefits of having a virtual assistant and introduce some of the most amazing talent that I've ever worked with. So AJ and I have worked together now for the last couple of years, and he has been instrumental in helping support me when I was still partnered with my business partner. Now, um, that partnership, we're no longer partnered, and AJ supports her and her team. But we still work very, very closely together. And one of the things that I think is really extraordinary about AJ is that not only has he been able to really catapult my business forward, and also with that partnership, he was instrumental with helping us to keep everything organized and really fill holes that we didn't even realize that we had initially. But also just watching him transition into having a company that he has helped to build and is a company where he's been able to change so many lives around him. I actually came to him a couple weeks ago and I said, I really want other people, other professionals to know what it is that you guys do and understand what a wonderful company that you have put together, because there are so many different we get calls as real estate agents all the time. People are calling, they're asking if we need help with virtual assistants, things like that. And it's so important to not only leverage the power of working with virtual assistants, but also to work with reputable companies that are constantly seeking feedback, teaching and training on any holes in the skill set of the virtual assistant. So I want to shout it from the rooftops just how amazing you have been for me, and how really working with you and then your company has really changed my business and even my life. So I'll let you
Thank you
take
so
it away.
much. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Mitzi. And to be honest, I couldn't, be thankful so much without you because you were the one who, who trained me enough on real estate field. Because when I started 4 years ago, right, I don't have any idea what is real estate in US all about because I'm living offshore, right? I'm from the Philippines. So I have no idea how documents work, how the process works. But with your mastery on what you're doing, you were able to guide me what is real estate in United States, works, right? Even the documents and the process, moreover in California. And if I were to tell you, if you're going to make a survey on a virtual assistance company, um here in virtual assistant world, rather, they would always say that the state of California is one of the hardest state where you're going to assist agents when it comes to real estate. It is
Sure.
because, there are tons of documents, that. So that's one thing that, make that sets you apart. The state of California, where you're also practicing your license. Am I correct?
Absolutely.
And I want to ask you first, before we dive in on my talk. This is just like pretty quick one. Before you start, your business, or before you meet me on your business, have you worked already on your, on other virtual with other virtual assistant, or how do you discover me? How do you discover virtual assistants?
Yeah, so that's a wonderful question. So I have had assistants in my business. I've leveraged assistants since 2016. I've been a licensed realtor since 2013. And in 2016, I realized I was so busy that, and one of the things that I'd mentioned on my post, if you don't have an assistant, you are an assistant. And I realized that I was so busy with my real estate business that I was doing a lot of tasks that I needed to offload to someone else. Well, I went and worked with assistants, different assistants over the years that were physically in the U.S., and have had some wonderful, wonderful people that I've worked with. And it wasn't until actually Marguerite and I partnered in 2022 that I was first introduced to you. And then I realized there's a bit of a mindset shift that happens where, people that I worked with in the US, I had some really great assistants. I had some not so great assistants. And the reality was, I had a lot of, people calling in or not really showing up, not wanting to do the work, things like that. And also, there's a lot of expense that comes along with hiring people locally in the U.S., things like workman's comp. You can imagine being in California, what all that overhead looked like to employ
I
people
know. I'm from
physically.
listening. Yeah, from listing the property, unlisting the property, from marketing the property, under
Yeah,
contract. There's a lot of hard work, and I want to ask you before, I really dive in on this one. And what made you chose to hire virtual assistant rather than hiring a local one on your area?
that's a great question. So, realistically, for me, it's the fact that, you know, as far as working with you and then working with some other virtual assistants, because I do run Airbnb business and things like that. And what I learned was that the company that we use to support the Airbnb business, as well as you, as well as a couple other virtual assistants that I had seen other professionals use, you guys are always showing up. You're always extremely professional. You guys are always you are very graceful in the way that you respond, even when we get stressed and we're kind of running around like chickens with our head cuts off. You guys are very consistent and calm, and extremely eager to learn. And there could be typhoons going on in the Philippines, but you guys show up to work
Yeah.
with a smile on your face. And so, for me, that was a bit of a shift, is, you know, like, really, do I need somebody physically, in my space that I'm gonna, probably sit there
Mm-mm.
and chit chat with and things like that? Or do I need someone to GSD, right? Like, get done and actually,
Yeah.
what I mean? Who's
Yeah.
who's who's able to leverage technology and really, and I don't want to jump ahead, but fast forward to today. Like King, who I work with, he's been a part of my business and my team now for almost 2 years, and I could not do what I do without him. And so I couldn't even fathom the thought of, going out and then finding somebody physically to work with me and paying them 3 times as much for them to, call in sick and have this happen and that happen. And you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
anyway,
You need someone that, you're who can deliver, right? We
Right.
don't need someone who can, over promise but under deliver. I think that's what one thing that we need to, be mindful when we're hiring, a someone that who will going to put that in our team. And I'm pretty sure that you all also work with, several assistants, and there are just few ones who were able to get the business or understand the business. Because the one thing for sure, one thing that I realized when I was working with you is not about it's not you being a virtual assistant alone. It is you being a business partner. Because if you're going to think about just like your virtual assistant, you're just going to take order from you. I'm just going to take order from you. It will gonna be a hard part on my end because I'm just like an assistant, on the in the long term, right?
Hmm.
But it's, yeah, like what you've said, you're mentioning, religiously, that it's about mindset. So when I started to work with you, and I'm still, instilling this one to anyone's mindset, that, being a virtual assistant, it's not about you being like the assistant of a boss. It is you, assisting the business, being the backbone of the business,
Yes.
whenever, and be leading the business and being the anchor of the business. So that's what we need. So allow me to share my screen, Mitzi, so I could share, how to work smarter and not harder. So this is where we're going to talk about. And this is a very good topic because, it would let us know, as a real estate agent, we know, guys, that you are very knowledgeable when it comes to, real estate. But let me share you how can you be able to use your time smarter, and, and also how can you be able to, control your business on, on a maximum level, right? By not, being trying so much, or not being, putting much of your time on administrative tasks, you know what I mean? Like looking on your emails, calendars, knowing the documents, blah, blah, blah. But on this part, you will be able to step in the game. Let's see how we're able to get that one. So so real estate is just about selling homes, right? Am I correct, Mitzi? It's not about selling homes, because when someone heard about real estate, okay, buy and sell of properties, real estate investment. It's not about that. So real estate is it's more about, marketing, right? Follow-ups. We know that there are fruit, or they are always be a harvest when you're going to through your CRM and doing the follow-ups. Next is admins, right? Admins who work on your CRM, admins who work at the back of your email, right? Knowing what emails to prioritize, knowing what emails to respond to. Because right now, it's just so very easy to, to control your emails. Because if there's something urgent, your virtual assistant would take a screenshot of that email, and we're going to send out to you, hey Mitzi, how can I respond this one if he's not really familiar on the email, or what's the email all about. So it's so very easy. Next is client calls, right? Like what you've said earlier, real estate is not just about selling or buying houses, right? It's more about building relationship, and that would only possible by, making calls on your CRM, right? And as a virtual assistant, me myself, I experience now talking with clients. And one thing for sure that I learned from you is, making sure that when you're talking to clients, and when you're working with them, you need to make sure that they are feel that they are very welcome, they are feel that very well accommodated, right? And during the call, you need to make sure that they will experience the best client care experience. And as of now, I am still practicing that one. And I couldn't be thankful, without humility, because, I learned to understand how to position myself as someone who's in the back end, but at the same time, an integral part of the business, to make sure everything is really possible, everything will gonna happen, right?
Absolutely.
Also,
Yeah.
real estate is about scheduling, right? We know, guys, that you're so busy. And we have this kind of joke in real estate, Mitzi, right? That one thing that, as real estate assistant, really, one big problem with real estate agents is doing their agent visual inspection disclosure, right?
Right. Which we
Right.
don't even have in Tennessee. So it's not even a problem.
Yeah, it's out of your league now. But in California, you know what I mean. When you're presenting the buyer side, I have to nudge you, because maybe the listings had already sent the AVID, so I have to send that document, because it's a due diligence with both parties that we have to deliver that documents, right? And I
Yeah.
have to tell you religiously, hey, I need your AVID on this one. Hey, so. It's more about scheduling because it's not just about, writing the document itself. It's just like the final walkthrough, right? It's the verification of the property at the last, maybe the 3 days before the close of escrow, just to make sure everything is fine. So if you think being a real estate agent it's just really easy just selling home, it is not, because they are also some sort of inspector in California, because they have to go through on the property and look into it, visit it, and make sure everything is really well. So I hope we were able to give you guys the background of what is real estate about, right? And always remember, you are not a superhero. We all know that m- real estate agents are one of the best professionals in United States, because they have amazing talents. They're wearing different hats. They could market property, they could be an inspector, they could be sometimes a psychologist with your clients, am I right? Like a therapist rather, because sometimes
Absolutely.
the clients are really nagger, they're very sad, but you have to take the call and make them feel calm that, hey there, I got you, something like that. So you have to make sure that everything is really well, everything is really good on the pipeline or in your business. But always remember, you as a real estate agent, you are not a superhero. Sometimes you need, this is I got a word, this is the principle that I got from Margaret. Sometimes you need to delegate what you hate, right, Mitzi? All the things that you think that somehow that you need to delegate in order for you to step up in the game, you need to do that, because you won't be able to to see your growth, and you cannot be able to do the things that you want on your business if you don't know how to delegate, right?
Well, and if I could just interject,
Yes.
I recently went to a seminar and I heard this analogy, and it's so good. You know, when you visit a restaurant, I'm someone who loves to eat out, love to go
Yeah.
to restaurants, and you walk in and there's the hostess or the host, and you interact with them. They ask you how many at your table, blah, 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 whatever. And then they will go and seat you. Sometimes that same person might bring your drinks, but more often than not, they send over the waitress or waiter, and that person comes over and takes your drinks and then brings your food order, takes your food order. They take your order back to the back. Your cook cooks the food and then gives it back to the waiter or waitress, and they bring it out and they serve it to you. And then when you're all finished, here comes the check, and then the bus
Uh-huh.
boy or girl, whatever, whoever's busting your table, they might come and start taking plates off your table, or the waitress might do that. But when you're all done with everything, you don't thank the busboy for the great steak. You
Correct.
say compliments to the chef. Well, as real estate agents, we're the ones that are we take that initial phone call, we schedule an appointment with that person, we get them hooked up with a great lender, we schedule showings, and then we're scheduling inspections, we're making sure that the contract, once executed, gets over to the lender, make sure the lender is doing what they're supposed to do, that they're ordering the appraisal. We're making sure that there's nothing in the house that's going to get called out on the appraisal, trying to get ahead of that, coordinating, contractors and all of the things that we're doing. And then we're thinking about closing gifts, for once we actually get to the closing table. We're thinking
Yeah.
about, how can we make this experience exceptional for this person? How can we cook the steak just right for this person that we're helping? And then at the end of all of it, end with a great review, a great client experience, and a client for life. And we try to do all of those things ourselves, right? And that's all good, but it prevents you from being able to really scale. So you might be able to do that well for 2 to 3 different families, maybe 4, but at a certain point, something's going to fail. Either your personal life, your the client experience, or you're not going to be also prospecting for other clients to help. So at the end of the day, something's got to give. And it's like, once you have that mindset shift and you realize that by leveraging professionals, other people who want to help you do things your way, want to help you create this exceptional client experience and really knock it out of the park and be an integral part of your team, then now you start having those people on your team the waiters and the waitresses, the busboys, the hostess, the host,
Yeah,
those types of things, the chefs. So now everybody comes together to work on that client experience together, as opposed to you trying to do it all and dropping lots and lots of balls.
exactly. And this might be you, right? As a real estate agent, right? I'm tired of being a marketer. I'm tired being an admin on my business. It's very, it's very connected on what you just mentioned earlier, like being the chef, being someone who's like the sales lady, or I mean the waitress, right? You as a real estate agent, you serve as a marketer, you serve as an admin. Sometimes you'll be a social media manager. Sometimes you'll be a someone as a designer to to make designs on your Canva. Sometimes you're a tech support if something is not working on your CRM, for instance, right? And this is really tiring if you're doing all these things together, right? It is good if you are like an agent, just like newly licensed and learning everything, right? But if you are a seasoned real estate agent taking a lot of clients at the same time, I think it is the time for you to delegate these things that you think that you can delegate to other people in order for you to step up with your client care, or in order for you to still connect with your client, right? To socialize with other people, and in order for you to generate leads, right? And that's number one goal, to generate leads, right? And it is only possible if you have the time to do that. And in order for you to have that time, you have to delegate this task or these things to someone else. And based on statistics, agents spend up to 60% of their time on non-income producing tasks. I'm not saying that checking email is not a non-income producing task. What I mean by that is, most of their time are on the back end instead of doing the real work or real job of a real estate agent. Number one is because of doing those things, those administrative tasks, they miss the leads, right? Meaning to say they miss also the closings that that they supposed to close, right? Or the property that they were able to to list, or the property that they were able to make an under contract, or like an accepted offer, you know what I mean? So it is very important for you to lead your attention or lend your attention on those things, right?
That's right.
Human, right? You overwork, right? And when you overwork, you tend to be burnout on what you're doing, and that's a result of inconsistency. And we don't want that on your client care experience. We don't want to make our clients feel that, oh, you're good during the while listing my property, but you're not good when you're marketing my property. No, we don't want to feel them like that. We're like that. We want to make sure that we are going above and beyond in every step or every pace on selling their property, right? And also, if they're going to purchase a property, we also want to make sure that the buyer are also feel supported, because we know, Mitzi, right? Moving from one place to another is really hard, and you can attest to that because you moved from California to Tennessee, and it's really hard, right? And
Yeah,
we don't want to instill and a show in our business that we are inconsistent. We want to make sure that in every time that we're facilitating the business, and we're making sure that every time that we're talking to them, we are consistent on what we're doing. We are living in our core values. We're living on our mission and vision as a team, or as a business, right?
absolutely.
Also, let's just be real. Like, what would happen if you let go just 5 to 10 hours a week? Let's think about it, right? What will happen if you're just going to let go the 5 to 10 hours of your week? Okay. So number one, you will have a consistent follow-ups. Weekly marketing will be done appropriately. Your inbox will be organized, and more time for your clients and closings. This will only happen if you're going to hire someone on your business. Okay. This is
If
the
I
exact. Yes, yes, you may.
can, for those of you that are watching that are not giving your clients weekly marketing reports, you guys are missing the mark. I have to tell you, especially in this market, houses are not selling as quickly as they have been. And so your clients are wondering what's going on. And so if you guys are not putting together weekly marketing reports that are showing everything that you've done within that week to market the property and what that result has been, then I promise you that your clients are feeling like maybe you're not doing all that you could do to market
Exactly.
that property. So that is one of the biggest things that I have done, that I've implemented into my business. And I've done that for the last several years. The difference is, several years ago, by the time the weekly marketing report it rolled around, time to send it to the client, the house had sold. So it wasn't even anything that was a big, deal. But today it is. So that is something that I know that King, my virtual assistant, is spending hours doing every single week to put together all of the marketing reports for the team. And then he'll send them to us for approval. So nothing's going out with our name on it without us looking over it first. But it gives us the opportunity to have all the information saved in one place. And then now we can present it to our clients and we can discuss, what we need to talk about. So just
Exactly.
one tidbit, if you get nothing else, from this, that would completely transform your business, because as we know, canceled listings are completely on the rise. And that is one way that you can help your sellers to understand what you're doing to take care of them.
Exactly. And I like what you said earlier. We have a tough market, right? A challenging market, not tough. We have a challenging market right now. And if we're not doing our best on the marketing on the market, because we as a real estate agent, we know that we're doing our best in marketing the property. Isn't it that so? But we cannot simply tell to the clients that, hey, I'm doing the best marketing efforts on your listings. We cannot
Right.
simply tell those words to them via text, right? We have to show statistics, right? We have to show that the percentage, right? They have to see like a visual representation. What are we doing? Are we really doing that as done, right? So that's one thing that we have to make sure. And to be honest, in conjunction on what you said earlier, Mincy, we as a team, while here in California, I'm also the one who's doing the marketing report. Like, I'm
Right.
the one. So I am doing, everything that I need to include on the marketing report and sending it to clients. Just making sure that we're taking care of you. It's just that it's a matter of just like the market is really challenging, but we're doing our best, right? So you as a real estate agent, yeah, I would agree to meet see countless times that you need to get your marketing report sent out on a weekly basis on your client. And just to be specific, I am sending it out every Tuesday. So that's a Tuesday marketing report that I'm sending to the clients. And Marguerite will do the follow-up call, something like that. That's what we're doing. How about you? Is it something that you're also practicing sending it every Tuesday, or do you have like a different times?
Yeah, I mean, we send it we send it weekly. Sometimes, depending on the amount of active listings that we have, we might have some roll into Wednesday, but for the most part, it's like clockwork. It's Tuesday.
Yeah. And no matter what day, just make sure that you have to send it on a weekly basis, right?
Yes,
Next,
thousand
as a
percent.
as a real estate agent, what are the things that you can delegate? This is the bottom line of this conversation. Number one is you can delegate social media scheduling. Instead of you going on your Facebook, on all your or with all your social media platforms, you can just be hire someone and make sure that they will be able to create a great content for you, and they will schedule the posting on you, so you don't have to go to your laptop every day and schedule the posting. It's very time consuming. Listing coordination, making sure that all the details of the property are being properly enco- um, encoded on the multiple listing service or with the MLS, right? Next is CRM updates, making sure that we're updating the stages, the status of the client, if it is already closed, if it is a warm, if it is a hot, if it is a cold, if we need follow up, right? We also have to make sure that we're updating our CRM. What happened if this is a divorce situation and those two partners are not in the good, in good shape or in a good relationship, right? We have to make sure that we're also updating our CRM by, putting some notes, right? Updating the status, the face, and your virtual assistant can actually do that instead of you logging on your laptop, on your computer, updating your CRM. You have someone at your back end making sure that everything is, being done appropriately. Next is inbox and calendar management. A lot of virtual assistant, this is one of our, I would say, core training in order for us to how to manage our inbox and how to manage our calendars. Most especially is, knowing the different time zones, because in US there are different, there are four time zones, right? We have the Pacific, Eastern, Mountain, and central, right? So you have to make sure that, you having a virtual assistant, you can be, how can I say that? You can be feel at peace that someone is taking care of your calendar and reminding you every day, hey Mitzi, we need to shoot this video. Hey Mitzi, are you going to do this listing appointment on this day? Blah blah blah. So you have someone that could making you really accountable on your schedule, right? And you can have that if you have your virtual assistant. Next is lead nurturing emails, right? We can be able to send like email campaigns, right? Or like a weekly emails that making sure that we're getting in touch with our clients. The last but not the least is graphic design for flyers and posts, right? Instead of you hiring someone like a professional graphic designer on the market, I'm not saying that don't hire like, someone or a graphic designer on the market. What I'm saying is that if you're just really starting as a real estate agent, you can hire virtual assistant and have them all these things being done. AJ, how is that possible? Is it really possible? Yes, it is, right? And how can be able to do that? It's all about a matter of scheduling. Not all the time you will list a property. Not all the time you will update your CRM. Not all the time you will send a nurturing emails. You know what I mean? Like it's more about delegating your time at you as a virtual assistant and making sure you as a real estate agent, you know what's the work structure of your virtual assistant. You have to be aware what's the job description of your virtual assistant. And you have to be transparent on what are the limitations of your virtual assistant and what are the things that, he or she needs to be doing on your business. You have to be make sure that you are transparent when it comes to that.
You got to be clear.
Yeah,
Yes.
you got to be clear, right? So
Yeah.
these are the things that can virtual assistant can do: calendar management, cold calling, creatives, research and analysis, travel management, and customer relationship management. And you may be thinking, maybe it's too expensive. But if you're gonna lose your leads, what will happen, right? Maybe I lose control. That's wrong. You can actually gain focus if you're going to hire a virtual assistant because you're taking a lot, you're moving a lot on your plate and you can focus on the things that you want to be focused, right? Also, it won't sound like me. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be like sound too robotic on my emails. You can train your virtual assistant to be match your brand voice. And it is something that you could work on doing the business, right? These are the things that sometimes we may be thinking about or your hesitation in hiring a virtual assistant, but you're missing the game if you're not hiring a virtual assistant. I'm telling you, right? And Mitzi can attest to that. That if she doesn't have the virtual assistant, she might lose the game, right? Most especially in this challenging market or challenging times. Don't you agree?
Yeah. I mean, here's the reality of the situation is, again, there's no way for you to scale your business if you don't have the right people in the right places in your business. And you might be thinking, well, I don't need to scale. I'm at the very beginning. But the reality is, if you can set yourself up on the front end properly, then you're going to have the tools and the structure that you need. You've got that solid foundation. I mean, as far as like my virtual assistant, I have him completely manage my calendar because I will overbook every single time. I don't know. It's a skill. I don't know how I do it, but I do it. So he's managing my calendar. He's taking care of all of my graphics. He puts together my community newsletter. He actually orders my community newsletter and then negotiates with the print house as far as like timelines of getting it back, whether or not we're able to do things at a reduced cost, things like that. He's managing all of that for me. I've even had him schedule dentist appointments for my kids. I mean, it is nuts all the things he's able to do. He's
Yeah,
managing my
yeah.
schedule. Yes, he handles my travel schedule. Just last month, one of the gals on my team and I, we went to a training in another state. He researched all the hotels. He told me bullet points of all the amenities. I didn't have time to read up on 8 different hotels. He looked at their
Yeah.
calendars. He wanted to make sure that we had double beds, that the area that we ended up in was
Yeah.
walkable. These are all the things that he was doing. It's like, I don't have time for that. I'm literally sitting in a car talking to you guys in between appointments. Like, I am on the go. So I
Love
need,
it.
because otherwise, I'm gonna, like, this month I'll close 5 deals this month. Okay, and so and I'm already putting together deals for next month and the remainder of the summer. And that's the thing is, as I'm focused on providing an exceptional client experience for my existing clients, what's happening to the people that are going to be needing to buy and sell real estate in July and August and September? I got to get ahead of that. King helps me to do all that. He just organized I could go on and on, you guys. He just organized an entire neighborhood community yard sale, not one time, but twice. So he created a blueprint last year. He implemented that blueprint this year. And then on top of that, we got rained out the first time. So he was coordinating with all of the different neighbors who are
Vendors.
participating. Yep, put together a list or a map on Google Maps, kept it all very organized. Then everybody who got rained out that first go around and wanted to take 2 weeks later, he went ahead and put all that together and then re-promoted it. I was exhausted just looking at it because obviously it's my idea, but I just get to show up and and be part of the fun. But all the back end stuff, it was all handled. So these are some of the reasons why, I love to see people thrive. I love to see people's businesses blow up. I've seen other virtual assistant opportunities in the past. Some of them, like I said, are like single virtual assistants that are, out kind of cold calling agents and trying to find someone who will hire them. It's a crapshoot. You might get somebody exceptional, but most people are actually linked up with an agency. And I've also worked with other agencies, and I've worked with a couple that have sent me people that just were not what they said they were. But you know what? Everybody that I have worked with AJ and his agency has been exceptional. Without exception, we're actually getting ready to bring somebody else on now too, just to support King. So you guys, it's a no-brainer. It's a free consultation. I'll let AJ talk more about that. But it's
Yeah.
you can't go wrong. But okay, go ahead,
Yeah.
AJ.
And as we wrap up the call, and thank you so much for that, Mitzi, because your words really describe how amazing a virtual assistant can do on your business, right? And when I was still starting, I don't know how to order like a for sale sign, or order to, put your name, your personal, for sale sign on the property that we're going to list. I don't have any idea how to do that. Not until, I discover things. And right now, like what you've said, Margaret could really attest. She cannot live without me, because everything that she needs to do, she's just putting on the chat. Okay, I'll make that one possible. I just put it on my task list, something like that. Whatever, sure. If you've been thinking I need help, I just don't know where to start, you're not alone. Okay, I'll repeat. If you've been thinking that I need help, I just don't know where to start, you're not alone. Nix and I are, both of us are here, right? There are services that specialize in supporting agents like you, right? And we step in, right? We hire top tier professionals. 100% focus. We're balanced. And number one, you will save your payroll costs, right? So here, the next level assist, we have discounted pricing plans. Okay, for pro, you can hire someone by paying $789 per month in a monthly basis. You'll get your virtual assistant 20 hours per week. That will gonna be 4 hours per day, Monday to Friday, and you're gonna get 40 hours per week. Gonna be 8 hours per day, and just paying $1,379 per month, and you can get a tailored fit services for your business. Okay, and as you go on this webinar, you will get discounts. Okay, so instead of you paying $999, you're just gonna pay $789 because you're on this live. Okay. Also, here's the party, or we'll start right. If you want to be partner with us, or if you want to hire a virtual assistant, you can simply send a message to Mitzi, and she will help you to start. How you will be able to to hire a virtual assistant. And of course, King at the back and will be the one to respond to you, because Mitzi doesn't have the time to respond in any some message on your pages. But as much as possible, she will respond. But those messages that more about this virtual assistant, King will respond, right? Because King is actually a friend of mine who's working on behalf of Mitzi. So if you're ready to get partnered with us, you can scan this code, take a screenshot of it, and book us call with now, or send a message to Mitzi directly on her Facebook account. Is that okay, Mitzi? I'm not asking.
Absolutely.
It is a direct plug, huh?
Yeah,
Or you
I'm
can,
literally getting messages as we speak.
yeah, or this is a good idea. You can leave a comment on this webinar, okay? So in order for you to get reach out. So also, Mitzi, I just want to tell you that we have referral program. So don't you have enough money yet? Refer 6 close clients and you'll consistently get your VA for free. So once you refer 6 close clients, you get your VA for free for a certain period of time. Okay. And how are we gonna do that? Send us your referral. We handle the request, and you will earn $500 on every successful referral that you're gonna get. Imagine if you're going to hire six, if you're going to refer 6 successful clients, you're gonna get somehow thousands of bucks, huh? So Mitzi, I want to give you the floor to promote, or for you to have the last words, but that will be all for me.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just, again, I want to thank you for your time. I wasn't even aware of the referral program when I actually called you up and I said, AJ, you guys are so phenomenal that I just really want to help you promote your business and also help other industry professionals gain that time freedom. So let's do this webinar, and I'll just shout from the rooftops all the wonderful things that you guys have done to help me. And then you said, oh, by the way, there's a referral program. So so, so this was literally just me really wanting to continue to see you thrive and grow, because I love what you stand for. I love you as a person. You are phenomenal, and I can't wait to one day meet you in person. I feel like
Yeah.
you're like, I know you already, like we've been in face-to-face contact already. Of course I know you, but you know what I mean. um, and yeah, I could not do what I do without you guys. There is just absolutely no way. And and I love the fact that as I am an entrepreneur, I am obviously a real estate agent first and foremost. I run a team in California, I run a team in Tennessee. I help people buy and sell real estate all over the country, and actually I'm even helping somebody right now who's selling property in Puerto Rico. I was able to partner them with a phenomenal agent, so I'm helping to facilitate that transaction right now as we speak. But anyway, all that to say, I also have an Airbnb business. Even having like the opportunity to tell King, one time we were a little slower in the winter, and I said, hey, I want you to go into Craigslist and find me for sale by owner finance properties, in these states. I want you to go. And so I'm like, he's connecting me with people, so I have opportunities that I wouldn't even have time to research or look for. But now I'm able to call, the property owner in Alabama and say, hey, what would that look like? How much are you looking for down? Is that a business opportunity for my family and me to have something else that also, coincides with real estate, but also provides that additional stream of income. So my brain is constantly going as an entrepreneur, and King, he's just right there with me. But one of the wonderful things too about King is I love the fact that sometimes he'll say, okay, Mitzi, Okay, let's really think about that. Is that really the direction that we want to go in? Okay, no, you're right. You're right. That's a little, oh, that might be a little bit much. Okay, you're right. Rein me in. But anyway, again, I couldn't do what I do without you and without your agency and without King. You guys have been phenomenal, and I've never had this long of a working relationship with one assistant, except for my very first assistant was with me for I think 3 years. But that just goes to show, people here, other agencies, nobody has been able to really hit the mark like you guys have. So I just really hope that anyone watching that has that hole, that needs that support, and even if you're not really sure where you fall on that line yet, book your call with AJ, have him help you do a discovery call so you can even get some clarity around what you need, where you're at, and where you're headed.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned discovery call, huh? Our jargons now. So yeah, so thank you so much, Mitzi, for having me in this webinar. And
Yes.
as we wrap up this call, as we end this call, like message us on Facebook, message me on Facebook if you want to get business with us, or no cost at all. You can just talk to us and consult with us, in order for you to help you in our business. And before we end this live, we want to thank you everyone for attending this webinar or with this live. And Mitzi, thank you so much for being a mentor to me, not just like being a business partner. And thank you so much for trusting me, on your business. And I would tell you, confidently that I will not stop helping you up until I see you at the very top of a real estate game. Okay. So always remember that I got your back. Okay. There might be some hiccups, but that I am a rock star. I make things really possible, right? Even in a tough situation. So yeah, I think I'm all good. So thank you so much for everyone who attended this live. And always stay safe and stay amazing. Okay. All right.
Yes.
And thank you so much, Mitzi.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you guys.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.